that'll hold people back or with anything. Like I listen to it's funny. My biggest influences in being a comic creator are not comic creators. They're Gary V. You know Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh yeah, dude, I love Gary. Dude, Gary V
Yeah.
dropped the biggest, like it just changed everything for me this week. He said it. He said, what's the niche? Stop trying to find, I'm not even gonna butcher it because no, seriously, you might hear this and you might ejaculate because I did. Like it just, dude, no, dude, like this, it changed everything.
Come on, Benny, man. The kid is a L7 Weenie.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me and everything
You sound
else?
great.
Cool.
You sound great.
All right. So I usually just like to start and go into it. So
Let's do it.
hi, welcome to the L7 Weenie Podcast. I'm joined by the ever talented, the ever controversial hot take machine, Tyler Carpenter, also known as Draw and Talk from YouTube. So, hey,
Thanks
how
for
you
having
doing?
me. Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. It's always it always feels weird reaching out to people because it's like, hey, you want to come on my podcast? I mean, barely anybody watches it, but I mean, I still think it would be a great time for you to come. So
Hey, I love talk. Hey, listen, I love talking. I love talking with people. I wish more people would talk. Sometimes people don't want to talk to me because they're like, "Oh, Tyler, he's lacking." I'm like, no, I'm a really nice guy. It's like, let's talk. And if we got beef, let's talk. Like, for all we know, we have common ground.
even more value, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there was a moment where it was like, I mean, I've kind of wanted to have you on as a guest, like I going back a while now, but it's I definitely was like when you went through that whole thing with your former publisher and all that stuff. It
Yeah.
was like, well, geez, is that a good idea? I was like, yeah, sure, yeah, still, it's like I didn't necessarily think it was the right thing for to happen to you. So I was like, so yeah, I'd still have him on the show. So
I appreciate
I'm not
that.
afraid of any of that. But yeah, thanks for being on. So how's your day going?
It's going good. It's going good, man. It was funny. I told my wife this morning, I'm like, hey, tonight at 7, I have a podcast that I have to go on. Like, just remember. She's like, sounds good. And then we were upstairs, we're like getting our boys ready for bed. And then you sent me the link and I went, oh my gosh, I have a podcast right now. She's like, you're making me do bedtime by myself. I'm like, I told you this morning. It's not my fault. We both forgot. Yeah, no, but today's been good. Just been doing a lot of drawing, and I did a lot of like the business aspects of comics today, and it just like nothing's worse than spending $2,000 on not fun things.
Right.
Yeah.
I get caught up in the administrative responsibilities of being a creator almost all the time, and it unfortunately I only get to work like it's definitely the majority of
Yeah.
stuff I do versus
Yeah.
actual writing and drawing. Like that stuff is secondary, which is weird, but
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it is really weird. Like, I thought so. I've been doing comics full time for the last 5 months, which is a sexy way of saying I'm unemployed. Because
very yeah.
and I'm actually shocked. Like someone, like I've had friends like, dude, you're probably drawing so much. I'm like, dude, I'm doing way less drawing because I'm doing all the business stuff that I never had time for and all the administrative stuff. And now that I have time to do all this stuff, I'm realizing, oh, I actually don't have time to do comics. And so I'm learning that I like the sales and marketing aspects of comics, but I don't like the operations and the administrative stuff of comics. And yeah, I'm trying to get back into a normal job just to get some stability back in my life.
Yeah, I like because I'm a avid viewer of your content. So yeah, I've heard that you've been looking for a job. What kind of jobs are you looking for, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so I've been doing marketing for the last. I've been doing sales and marketing for the last 10 years. So just something in that vein, whether it's for like an agency or just like marketing for a product company or something like that. Or yeah.
Yeah. I've been recently trying to upgrade my day job to being a content creator for like an actual business.
Oh,
Because
nice.
it's like I do that for myself. I've got like over 7, 8 years of experience. I built a following of over 100,000 on Facebook. It's like
Yeah.
I think I'm credible enough to do this for actual company. So I've been trying to. I started fishing out my resume like maybe a couple weeks ago, seeing what happens with that. I was curious as to whether or not you ever thought of doing that.
Well, I mean, like the stuff that I do in the marketing, there is content creation involved. Like I'm either like I've done stuff where I'm filming videos, filming podcasts, making podcasts, filming myself, graphic design and whatnot. And so I have
Mhm.
done a lot of that content creation stuff. One problem, like the thing that I have found is like I've always said to like the companies I work with, I'm like, I'll do like all the content creation for you guys. I don't want to be the face though of your brand. So like
Right.
I'll get in front of the camera and be like, "Hi, it's Tyler. I'm an employee," but I don't want to be like Flo from Progressive and be like and try to be like, "Oh, like that's the face of the company." And so I think what you're doing I think it's smart that though businesses have a face for their company, and like if that's what you can be for that company, and that I think that's very smart. I know a lot of people who are doing that, like that's like a role now, like to be the face of a company for content creation. I
Mhm.
think it's a smart move for companies. A lot of them, no offense to them, are dumb and they don't see the importance of it. And in 10 and 15 years, they're gonna go, oh, like there's this new thing called TikTok, and you're gonna be like, yeah, it came out 15 years ago, and now you want us to jump in on it. It's yeah. So I think you're making the right move. Maybe you could try out doing some like it's called UGC content.
What's
So
that?
basically, it's user generated content. So basically, brands would send you their product, like we'll just go this red tie, and then you would make a TikTok video that's doing something with the tie, and then and then they would pay you for that video, and then they would post that video on their TikTok. So
Mm.
it means that you can work with like unlimited brands. You get all this free stuff, and all you gotta do is like make videos for them. Essentially, you're not tied
Yeah.
down to just one company.
Yeah, I got a friend who does that. I had him on the podcast once where that's all he does, and he does it like full time, just reviewing different
Jeez.
items and brands and merchandise, a lot of technology. He does a lot of stuff for Tesla cars and stuff. Like I was like,
Wow,
yeah, that's
that's
like
nice.
good for him. Yeah. He
That
do a lot
seems
of
nice.
yeah, he put me on to some things. He really helped me take my affiliate marketing game up another level by exposing me to uh, a new opportunity at the time for content creators, and it was that podcast that made me realize like because I've been kind of inconsistent with my podcast. But that podcast always reminds me that there's so much value in having a conversation with other creators because
Yeah,
there's someone they could be doing something similar to what you're doing, and it's like, wow, I didn't even know that you could do that. That brought me in an extra couple grand a year. It's like,
for
wow,
sure.
that was great. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
there's
dope.
definitely UGC, user generated content.
Yeah.
Was like, you ever want to impress someone, just throw out an acronym and
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah. Exactly.
they
Yeah,
do this.
exactly.
Oh, but yeah, it's amazing because the idea to do a content creator position came from the job I'm at now put out that position, and I was like, oh well, I can move up within the company and get that job, and that would be cool. I didn't get it. They
Oh, I'm
went with
sorry,
someone
man.
else, I think. But yeah, it's when you look at their Facebook page, their Instagram page, their YouTube, it's like, yeah, y'all definitely need a content creator because this is terrible. And they're like a pretty, uh, I guess you could say, sizable, legit company. I don't know how what their presence is nationwide, but definitely out here in Georgia, it's like, why wouldn't you have more stuff going on your pages? And they have the followings, certainly on their Facebook. I think they have at least like 1 million followers, but that's one of those situations where they've got 1 million followers and they only get like 5 to 10 likes.
Oh, Joe. Oh no.
Yeah. So
that's not good.
So yeah, it's one of those situations. It's like, how does that happen? But yeah, we'll see. But switching gears a little bit. Let's see. I've never done this before. I'm a somewhat of a StreamYard novice, but let's see.
No, you're good, man.
Okay, so can you see what's on my screen right now?
We're playing Connect 4.
Yes, because once upon a time, a certain streamer said he wished he could do, play more games and do stuff like that. And I was like, hey, yo, you try to run Connect 4? And he was like, hey, yeah, let's play Connect 4. So, yeah, we're about to play.
I love it. All right, let me grab my. All right, there we go. All right, we're gonna go draw and talk. All right, I'm ready, man.
Okay, you ready? Hold on, let me get this layout straight so I can.
So what made you call your podcast the L7 Weenie Podcast? I know it's a Sandlot reference, but what made you go for that?
So because I'm my pen name is Marcel the Loser. Let's try and focus. Oh, start game. You're in it? Are you good? Yeah, draw out there. All right. So start game. Boom. Okay, so yeah. Since my pen name is Marcel the Loser, I was just trying to find something that was, that went with that. So it was like, oh yeah, L7 Weenie, that's a real classic line. I really like that movie. So it was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll just clip that out and we'll call the podcast that. And yeah, that's where it came from. But
L7 Weenie.
Right. So yeah, that's where that came from. I think the first name I had for a podcast that I really liked was called The Lazy Astronauts. But that was back when I was trying to do a podcast with my friends and it just didn't really work out like that. So unfortunately, I had to let that name go, especially because it's usually a solo podcast. Well, it's me plus a guest, but still, So
yeah, it's always hard to do like podcasts with your friends. I've did a podcast with my friend and it was at like their place and like I was the one that was more into it than them. And so it was always like, yo, like we have a guest today. And I could always tell that he was like it got to a point where I could tell he was like, I just he just did not want to do this anymore.
Yeah, my kind of broke down before even the first episode.
Oh no.
It was like that's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
No, it's hard. I think a lot of people like think, oh, it's so easy to daily upload, it's so easy to do a podcast. And you're like, yeah, well, I mean, you also have to schedule this stuff out. You have to like sometimes do oh fuck. Dang it, I was like, I've got this. Okay, hold on.
All right, go ahead.
And you forget, like people think like, oh, this is just it's so easy just to like do this. I'm like, well, you gotta, sometimes you gotta prepare for your guests. Maybe you do some research. Maybe you've gotta, watch some of their content, especially if you want to like do it right. And then also there's like the learning factor of like how to talk to someone and have a conversation, because gosh, I swear I'm gonna, if I lose again, it's a lot harder to have a conversation than people have to think, and then to carry it out for and then for an entire hour can be difficult. And if you didn't do your research very well, you might not know how to steer that conversation during the dead moments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm getting played.
It's the conversation that makes it a bit of a strenuous activity. The mind.
We went really fast at the beginning. That's a pickle moment. Okay.
You know, I have a video that I'm putting up on my channel. If not next month, like soon after. I went to a convention, and it was like back when I was like really trying to figure out, like, okay, I need some better ideas for content. Like I was making sort of, you know, the quote unquote guru content for a while, and it just wasn't like it wasn't really resonating, like, or not resonating. Um, I think honestly, it didn't feel like it was worth doing because no one seemed to value the information, which is, I guess, all you kind of run into sometimes where you're trying to help people, but they take it as, you know, more of an attack.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, this isn't an attack. I think this is a good idea, and either people will call it stupid, or they'll basically just ignore it. So it's like being a comic creator is kind of interesting. It's like one of the few industries where people are not actively seeking how to do it online like they are with other companies, or not companies, industries. Or at least they'll, you know, they want to seek out how to do it, but they only want to seek it, like they only want to learn about how to do it from certain perspectives.
Like, no, that's a great way to say it. Like they only want to do it. They only want to do it from a certain perspective, and sometimes like the people that the perspective they want to get it, like it's the information that they're gonna give. Is it my turn or is it your turn?
It's my turn.
Dude, this is a heated one. I'm telling you, like the information that they want to get from someone is just like not applicable anymore. Like if you were to go, Jim Lee, how do I start getting into comics? His advice is going to be so outdated. It's not going to help you. Also, he's Jim Lee. Gosh, I just know if I do this. And so yeah, the
rules. Yeah.
And so like I just think like a lot of creators, they're just so stuck in their ways. They don't want to come on, bro. They're so stuck in their ways. They don't want to adapt. They don't they don't want to get better. Like I knew it. I know I saw it. I was like, oh.
All right, one more.
And like it's crazy because like we're all on the internet, and yet no one actually wants to learn how to use the internet. And when you have people like you and I, where like our day jobs is being on the internet, and you're able to see the impact that like these like having internet sales can do, you're like, it's like you get like the curtain open, and you just like want to tell people. Like when I was working for a book publisher for 5 years, and I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna get smashed. I can just feel it. When I worked at a book publisher for 5 years, and I'm like, I'm actively every single day, my job is to sell books. Like my job is to sell books. And so I was, every time I'd bring something up, it wasn't like I'm toast. I'm toast. Dang it, dude. I'm bad at this game. I'm learning. I'm toast.
It's all good. Yeah, that second one was really intense. That you pushed me with that second one. So,
that was fun. That was fun. That was fun. But you know, I'm like every single day I'm selling books, and I'm like, oh, this is a different way that we can do it, that we can take this into what we're doing as comics. And they're like, that's stupid. That wouldn't work. It's like, bitch, I'm literally doing this every single day. And like, these are outlets. And I think it's hard, especially when you're in the comic book community, because there's a ton of like the creators that you are supposed to see as like peers, colleagues, and even friends. Like there's this aspect where like you want the best for them, but when they're calling you names and they're like, you're stupid or this doesn't work, at some point you're just like, okay, well, I don't want to help you anymore. But then when they want your help, they come back and then they'll just take, even though you've been giving. And then it just gets really frustrating. And it's sad that comic book creators, I mean, I keep telling, I tell some friends, like joking, I'm like, there are going to be some comic book creators in a couple of years who are going to be like, so the new thing is to read comics digitally, because they're so like, their mindset is so in the past that's what they're going to be thinking, like, oh, so the new wave of comics is digital. It's like you've missed it.
Yeah, it's yeah, and I'm not certain. Well, I guess human beings are resistant to change. If you want to come from the understanding perspective, it's like they're just, it's resistance to change. Lots of creators are older, and they're kind of set in their ways and their dreams and ambitions and their vision. Like it's supposed to look. My dream is that it's that my book is being sold in these stores, and my book is listed in previews and it's always going crazy in there. That's my vision. That's my dream. So when you tell someone, well, all of that stuff doesn't really matter, it won't necessarily equate to success. It's
it's we would always joke at the publisher. We'd always joke and say like at the publishing company, when you get to go behind the scenes, when you get to be in the back rooms, if you're an author working for a publisher, you either realize that your dream is dead or that you have to go the self-publishing route. Because like, I mean, the common thing that you would hear from an author is I don't care about the money. I just want to have my book published and it to be in stores. And so that's what we would do for them. And then like right on time, every 6 months, hey, where's my royalty check? How come I didn't make any money? And it's like, I thought you just wanted your book published and get it in stores. Like, we check those boxes. And they're like, yeah, but I'm not making any money. I'm like, I thought you said you didn't care about the money. They're like, no, I do. I want to make money off of this thing. And I'm like, okay, well, at you're making like 50 cents to $1 per book sold. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, we sold 2,000 copies of your book. And your royalty is going to be 50 cents. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, so do the math. Like, how, like that's probably like, you probably made like 400 to 500 bucks off of your one book. And they're like, that took me 5 years to write. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like either, write, like we would always say, well, write another book, and then that'll boost up the book sales of the first book. And then hopefully you're just growing after that. And a lot of times the authors would be like, I don't want to write another book. This was the book. This was the money maker. And it's like, it just doesn't work that way anymore. Like the average nonfiction book will only sell 200 to 300 copies in its entire lifetime. Not the first 30 days, not the first 3 months, its entire life. And so having that lens, just go into Barnes and Noble and just go, wow, there's a lot of people here who have published books that aren't making a living doing it. And I think once that like curtain is unveiled, you as a creator go, wow, like you either have to figure out a way to make money and you go the independent route, or you just go, man, this fucking sucks. I'm going to get a new dream.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think as far as like, okay, like submitting your comic, to a publisher and having them print it, put it in stores and all that stuff. Once I realized that it wasn't the only way to go, it was that whole like route, I guess you could call it, became more so just like, oh, that would be a nice box to check off, you know, like it's like, oh, cool, I got my comic published by Image and, you know, sold a couple in stores. Like it's nice to say that happened. It's like a vacation. It's not something you actually, you know, look to like, okay, this was a revenue stream. Like, no, that was me just fulfilling, you know, like I've always wanted to go to Dubai, you know, like so that's
Yeah,
it is.
no, it's yeah, no, it's true. And like for me, I still like, I mean, I'm in creator Discord still, and I want to punch everyone in there. And it's still shocking to me the amount of people who have been doing this the same amount of time as I have, and they still are holding on to that dream of like, if I get with a publisher, I'm going to be making so much money. And I'm like, but you are with a publisher right now. You're not making any money. They go, but if I get another publisher, it's always like, if I get it with this publisher, I'm like, but the people who work at that publisher don't make any money. And it's like, so like, why do you keep, it's like going back to the same ex-girlfriend who freaking like likes to punch you in the freaking throat for fun. It's like going into Harvey Weinstein's motel room so that you can get that next gig. It's like, stop going, like, stop,
Right.
like, stop doing this. You're getting fucked. And you're the one who's like willingly like going at the front of a line saying me next, and then like bending over when there's like this other avenue that is totally possible, and there's no barriers, there's no gatekeeping. The only thing that's stopping you is your ability to like learn, adapt, and then put in the amount of like time and effort. I mean, it takes away the fun out of the creation aspect at times. Absolutely. Like, I'm like, oh, I've got to make a YouTube video today. Oh, I've got to go live. Oh, I've got to be posting these tweets. I've got to like learn how to curate my content. Like, I watched like 4 videos on how to write a hook for a YouTube video. Like, I just spent an hour just trying to come up with a title for my video. And I've got some friends who are like, dude, I just write whatever I want. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's why your videos get 10 views and mine get 1,000, because I am spending the time. But it's like, if I want to get to that 10,000 or 100,000, I've got to put in the experience, the work, and still grow. And that's just, and all that stuff takes you away from the actual comic book making, which is why they keep going to the Harvey Weinstein of comics, going like me, pick me next. I'll bend over for you. When if you would just sacrifice some fun for a little bit, you would probably have everything, be doing all the things that you want to do, that you claim that you want to do.
Or don't even sacrifice, just listen to the people coming back down from on top of the mountain saying, okay, I found a better way we can all go.
Yeah, and that's what frustrates me. It's like when I get blasted on like a Twitter thread, it's like, do you really like that's stupid? I'm like, bitch, do you realize this took me like 3 years to like learn, understand, educate myself, and then learn how to apply it? So like, I'm giving you like the crash course so that you don't even have to go through the figuring out stage. Like, what is this? I'm just telling you this is what it is how you to use it. I'm letting you skip over to the execution stage. And it's you know, sometimes I go like, man, these people are so freaking ungrateful. And yeah, I think that's why there's a lot of creators who are at the top of the mountain. I'm not saying I am, but there are a lot of creators who don't like to talk about that stuff anymore, who don't like talking about business or marketing side, because anytime they do, people just go like, oh, there's just crabs in the bucket, and they're like, well, if you're not going to listen, then I'm just going to just do me. I'm just going to do what works for me.
Here's something. I put this in I think I've heard you talk about them before, so you might be familiar with the I Create Comic Books group on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm in that.
So
I've had a couple posts deleted in there.
So I posted something in there, what was it, last Saturday? Just something. I was sitting around thinking about it, and I was like, this is probably a controversial idea, but I think
what was it?
A good idea. So I said hot take on the top of the post, because I'm like, I know no one's gonna really think this is a good idea. But I was like, I'd rather spend $4,000 on a.
Oh, I saw that.
than I would spend $4,000 on printing books. And yeah, everyone was just like, what? No, durr. Like someone posted a comment that literally just said, durr. I responded. I was like, I can't tell if you're agreeing with me or not.
No, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that, and I didn't even join in because I like started reading the comments and I went, you can't jump into a fight with people who are uneducated about the topic, you know, because like you could say, well, these are all the reasons why that could work, and they're like, but they don't even understand the concept. Like they're like, you can't sell anything on the internet. You're like, you're on the internet. Like what are you talking about? And so I read that post and was like, you know what? If you could do an influencer marketing strategy where one, you could find an influencer who did have the ability, who did have the audience that could like shill, and if you did pay them $4,000 and they would promote your book, absolutely. Because you're now borrowing from their audience, and now you're collaborating. And if you do like something like, if you were to use like Amazon, for example, and like do print on demand, you might not be like making as much as you would fulfilling it. But then that, I mean, you could just prepare. Like if you were like, well, I want to make the most money, then okay, then you have a ton of stock in your warehouse or your, wherever you're doing it. But if not, then you have a print on demand strategy, and then that shit's going. But then you could but then if you are using Amazon, it then could rank in the Amazon algorithm, and then you're getting the Amazon people buying it, and then you're able to tell your people, hey, we're like number one right now, and then your people are coming in, and then other people are like, wait, they're number one, what's going on? And it just becomes this wholly faceted thing. But once again, we just talked about how this one strategy will then build out on 5 different other strategies that'll pull in. And comic book creators are like, what is an influencer marketing strategy? Like they can't even get past that part. And they also, they can't fathom, which is fair, because like, resources can be very tight for all of us. I mean, because especially for writers, because they're paying for the art team and whatnot, so they're like, why would I pay for marketing? So they can't fathom paying someone $4,000 to market their own book. They're like, man, I don't even market my own book. But no, I like that. That's funny that was that was you. I saw the comments. I was like, my brother in Christ. I've been there. Good luck. Good luck.
I had got the idea because I was listening to what's it? Indie Comics Explained, Indie Comics Network. They do that comics on a Sunday, and they were talking about somebody who had printed a bunch of books and just had them around the house, waiting to sell them at conventions or wherever. And I was just like, it's crazy how someone could end up doing that. And it's like, I get why, you're trying to keep the print costs per book down, so you buy as many as you can, and but then you end up with all these books. And I was like, really, honestly, like, because those print runs cost a couple grand. I'm like, I'd rather spend that on some kind of influencer marketing or Facebook ads. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but why aren't other people doing it? And I was like,
yeah, I mean, it's because they're like, because when you tell people how do you sell a comic, they go, you sell a comic either in a store, on Kickstarter, or at a convention.
yeah.
And they go, it's only those 3. And you're like, okay, what about Amazon? And they're like, oh, like no one sells comics on Amazon. And you're like, okay, wrong. What about a Shopify site, like your own website? Oh, what's Shopify? Okay, wrong. You could do it. You could start a TikTok account and like use their e-commerce platform if you have enough followers. I'm not dancing. You're like, okay, like these people are just so old. These people are just so old school that like they're just so limited in their mindset. And you're right. It's like, okay, like the reach, someone on, I know what show you're talking about. It's JD Cauldron's show. He's a good friend. He's a good friend. I always tell him, I'm like, JD, I love your show, but I hate watching it because I yell at my screen so much because you have some of the worst guests on your show who have the worst opinions, and they're dumb. And he's like, you just got to bring them all on, Tyler. I'm like, don't ever bring these people back on. But they were like, you can reach more people. They one of their guests literally said this. They said, you can reach more people putting your book in a Texas grocery store than you could online. And I just went, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pretend that I heard that wrong. So say that again. And they were like, Tyler, every single month, 100,000 people walk into this grocery store and walk out. So if your comic book is in there, that's 100,000 people that could do it. I go, okay. There are 4 billion users on the internet. They go, no, but this is 100,000. I'm like, no. You said 100,000. I'm in the billions.
Right.
Like we are not even in the same stratosphere of numbers. And like you could even niche it down to millions, and I'm still gonna beat you because and then they're like, well, it's still a better opportunity. And I'm like, is it? Because I'm not like, it's easy for you because you live in Texas. I don't. So
Right.
how do I reach that Texas customer? I can go through the internet, and hey, I didn't have to go through a store and pay their shipping fee. I can just sell it straight to them. How? Via the internet. I cut out that middleman, and now I'm making more money than you. But once again, like it's just you know, it's old people think. These people are, I call them I anytime I get into battles with creators I tell my followers, I'm like on my email list, I'm like, yeah, so this week I got into a fight with the retirement home again, and you know, give them their soup.
I mean, hopefully, I'm hoping it'll come around. Like, we got on this because I was saying I don't like making guru content anymore, where I like trying to give out advice and stuff like that. But I'm hoping people will eventually come back around, and it's like, and if they don't, it's like, well, this is a business. I'm trying to be competitive, so yay me if I'm taking what I consider a good idea and finding success. So that's why I'm like, I just want to make fun content. So circling back, 20 minutes ago when we were playing Connect 4, I have a video. I went to a convention thinking of cool different videos I can make at a convention besides just, I did an artist alley table. I sold this. I'm sure you've seen an artist alley vlog before, right? Yeah. So I'm like, well, I want to do something a little different. So instead of doing an artist alley vlog at the convention, I went to find a celebrity to play Connect 4 against because I like playing Connect 4. So
geez, you didn't let me know that. Like I was going up with a freaking grandmaster.
That stream was like what, maybe 4 months ago. You've had 4 months to prepare. This was coming. You knew this was coming. Anyways, I got in line and I talked to Elijah Wood, and like I got in line for Elijah Wood, and I was like, hey, so I don't want an autograph or a picture. Can I record us playing a game of Connect 4? And he was like, sure, yeah, let's do it. So I have a game playing Connect 4 with Elijah Wood, and I'm pretty sure there's not a single video on YouTube of anyone playing Connect 4 with Elijah Wood. So I'm excited.
Is that on your YouTube channel? Have you posted it yet?
Not yet. That's probably going to be the next video that I do. So yeah, that, and then I did a video where, or I haven't done the video yet. I've recorded the footage though. I got to edit it. I went to a convention, and I don't know, how much do you go to cons? Do you ever go to cons?
No, I very rarely do.
Right. So if you were to go to a convention, which I think has always kind of been like this, not just post-COVID, but there's usually a couple tables just empty. Like for whatever reason, the artist or the guest didn't show up. There's just an empty table amongst all the other vendors. So I was like, you really could just pull up on a convention and put your stuff. And
no one will know.
Yeah.
I will say I did do that actually once. I was in Vegas and I was sharing a table with someone. And the second to last day, one of the people across from us was just like, F it. And they just left. And
Uh-huh.
I just kind of was like looking at that table the whole time, and I just kept bumping into the guy I was sharing the table with, and I'm like, okay, I'm moving. He's like, where are you moving to? I was like, that table, like right there. And then
Right.
each of our sales just went up because because of it.
Wow. But yeah, I was just like, these convention tables, they cost like 200 on the low side, 400 on the high side for artists, who don't have that kind of money typically. So it's like, you know what, I'm gonna make a video to see if this is possible. I was like, I'm gonna pull up on a convention on the second day, because I was like, first day, you never know, someone might just be running late. So
Mhm.
second day, if that table is empty, they're not coming. So I went on a Sunday, found an empty table, set up shop, sold a bunch of books, and I recorded.
Shit, dude.
And I'm gonna make that a video like I stole an artist alley table, and it's like it's something that's not out there. It's a different video.
Yeah,
So
it gives me an Arak vibe. I don't know if you know the YouTuber Arak. He would
no,
like sneak into like everything. Like I snuck into the Logan Paul fight. I snuck into Jake Paul's fight. I snuck into the Super Bowl and stuff. I dig that kind of content, and no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. A video like that is like you got to have like the most banger thumbnail and
right.
title. So like, no, I'm excited. Because I was going through your channel and I was like, okay, I would have seen Elijah Wood playing Connect 4 YouTube video. Where is this? No, but like what you're saying about doing things differently and being exciting, I think like, and this was me for a while too, is that like you look at what people are doing in the comic book space, and all what they're doing is they're doing a lot of like drama content where it's like they don't want to talk about the comics, they want to talk about the business of comics, which is very interesting. And I'm actually like I did a podcast on my own on my Patreon. I was like, I'm done talking about the business of comics. Like I've had these conversations for 5 years, nothing's changed, it's boring, and I'm just gonna I want to make more entertaining content. And what's not happening in the comic book space, no one's talking about the books that they're reading, no one is having fun. First off, like you're never gonna see and whether I there's a part of me that like thinks that this content will resonate with people. Like there's a part of me that's like people will eventually get, they're gonna be sick of hearing the mangas beating Marvel, and they're gonna get sick of hearing these conversations and eventually go to like watch a video where they're talking about their favorite book, or it's two creators shooting the shit, having a good time, and playing Connect 4. And maybe, during the live show, the creator is like, hey, who wants to play me in Connect 4? And even throws out the link to their chat. It's like, we'll come in. And so I think fans are wanting positive energy. I think they're wanting these entertaining type videos. We as creatives, especially people who are making content, haven't been doing the best job because we go, oh, well, they want drama, so I guess I should do drama. Oh, they want news, they want guru stuff. When I think if we break the mold, and yeah, we might do an entertaining video and it might only get 10 views, and then it might only get 20. And I think like for me, when I was doing that stuff, I would then immediately go, stop it. And I would just go back to the old ways.
Mm.
When really it's like, if I just keep doing this and setting a rhythm and setting an expectation, people will eventually go, oh, okay, this is actually the stuff that I want to take part in. I had a friend who was like, Tyler, I don't think you can do it. Like, I don't think you can do a stream that's like fun like that. And I was like, watch me. And this Wednesday, we didn't talk about the business of comics once or the drama. We just read a bunch of manga titles online and we're like, would you read this? Like, would you read Dick Fight Island? Would you read that manga series? Let's read what the synopsis is. Would you read it? And it was a really fun stream and I had a blast. Now, what am I doing for the next stream? I don't know. I have to plan it out. I need to get creative because I could just make a stream today on all the shit that Mark Millar has been saying about the comic book industry, and I could slap his face on a thumbnail and everyone's going to be like, what's Tyler's take on the Mark Millar drama? And there's going to be hundreds of other people who are going to say that stuff, and they're all going to get the same opinions. Or I can stand myself out and be like, I'm going to be the fun guy. Like, you guys can all be negative and talk. I'm going to be the fun guy.
What you could do is take this trending topic and find a way to spin it into something fun.
Exactly. No, exactly. Like, it just needs to be creative. Like, we're just not creative. We're just hitting the live button going, I went on Twitter and bad things were being said on Twitter. So I'm going to read the Twitter. Like, literally, there's so many of these guys' live streams that are just reading the Twitter comments. And it's like, guys, either like read the original tweet and then give your original take. But you don't have to spend an hour reading. I can read the comments myself.
I really like. I don't even mind that because, like, I watch what's it, Niobe Comics Larry. I know he does a lot of content like that, and everybody's got something to say about Rippaverse. And yeah, the age-old comics versus manga. I don't mind listening to that stuff because it's talking about comics, and I just like making comics. I like hearing about it. It's
Mhm.
I don't like hearing, oh, this guy sucks or he's stupid or like I don't like hearing that. But I just like being in the arena of comics discussion.
Yeah.
I don't mind putting it on. Where they lose me, um, aside from all the the bashing and name calling, is that it's not solution oriented. So it's like, sure,
But
like talk
yeah.
about all these problems that never get fixed, but not if you're not going to present solutions and new creative ideas and like.
But even then, I'll challenge you then on this because I agree with that. Like, the ones that they will never bring a solution, but then even if they do bring a solution and they're talking about the solution, and this is what finally just drove me up the wall this last week, and I was like, I'm out of this. I can't do this anymore. It's like, all of us have solutions. Like, there's tons of people who have solutions. We've been saying these solutions for like years.
Mhm.
And then I just had this realization. None of us work at DC or Marvel. No one of us work at these companies. None of us are in the rooms making the decisions. So, like, me throwing out these solutions into the world, like, doesn't mean anything. Like, I realize I'm like getting all like worked up fighting people online, like, no, if they were to do this kind of marketing, blah blah blah, it would work. And it's like, why am I like getting so passionate about a business strategy for a business that I don't work at?
Mm.
And I'm never gonna gain anything from it. I'm never gonna work there. And this isn't helping me on my side. And then I'm spewing it out to people who also don't either want to agree with it, or also I'm spewing it to people who might agree with it, but they're also not decision makers. So, like, really, this conversation is pointless. And
Mhm.
so I just kind of was like, this last week, I just had this like, man, I'm so done with this. Um, and I always go back to like this era. When I was working, I think it was 2020, and I'm working on the Girl with the Mega Fist, and I kind of left the comic book community for like a couple months, and I was like, I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to even be on Twitter. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read comics. I'm going to read manga, and then I'm just going to make videos about them. And I did that for probably 3 months. My subscribers went up, my Patreon numbers went up, my videos started doing really well. And then when I launched Girl with the Mega Fist, it became my best book at the time. And then I went back to the comic book community, and I just went back into the negativity of all of this, like, haha, and I and then I just lost the aspects of like what I really loved. I love comics, I love manga, and I love the stories. And I've been now in this arena of like negativity fighting my fellow creators for the last 2 years. And it's like, you know what? If people want to fix comics, then the people who have the power to fix comics will fix them. The
Mm.
only thing that I have the power to do is to make comics and to find ways that I can sell them. And that's what I've got to focus on right now.
Right.
I urge all indie creators to do the same. Like, DC and Marvel, like, no offense, you're not getting hired by DC or Marvel. Like, you talking about them isn't going to help your case. It's not going to bring you closer to working with them, and it's not going to help you grow a fan base. So work on your comics. Start reading comics and manga. Start talking about the things that you love. And I think if we had more positivity, Like, I can only imagine a new fan of comics going, what does like comics Twitter look like? And then they go into comics Twitter and they're like, oh, bang, 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 reload, bang, bang, bang. Let me find a new fandom. I think if there was more positivity, I think we'd attract more people into this medium, into the
You
stuff that
know,
we love.
it's interesting we're talking about this. I think the first video I saw of you, like how I found your channel, it wasn't anything having to talk about the industry. It was a video that I myself am like was thinking about doing in a different way. But it's like you took a character or an idea and then turned it into a comic, like into
Was
a.
it my Logan? I turned Logan Paul into a shonen manga.
That was it. I was like, huh, this is different. And
Uh-huh.
I really like the idea of taking an idea from, conception all the way to completion, more or less. And then, like if you did a part two, if you were like,
Dude, I think if I had continued that series, like it would have done. I think I'd be killing it right now if I had done. The problem is that like it was an outlier making that video because my family, my wife and kids were out of town for 2 weeks. So like when I tried to do the next one, I had no time to like draw my own books, and I
um,
had no time to make this like new celebrity manga. And then I didn't have time to then edit the video at all because it was like really well produced. And I was like, oh, like that was really hard. But because my next ones were I had one for like three big YouTubers, and my next one, but four of those three YouTubers was Billie Eilish. I
hmm.
turned Billie Eilish into a manga. Um, yeah, maybe I'll bring that series back.
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing something like that, just taking some kind of influencer or whatever, and then just turning it into a comic, and then
You
I'll got
should,
the whole thing of like sending it to them and seeing what they said and all
dude.
of that.
Seriously, literally just copy like my whole format of the video because I didn't do it. I didn't keep on doing it, but I still think like I always tell myself like if I didn't have any stories to make, I would just be a manga YouTuber where I just make manga stories specifically to post on YouTube. Like this week, I'm gonna write this story and then draw it out and then make a video on it. And then
And the sad thing is, if you were just doing like little weekly one shots, that would probably be a lot more profitable. Weekly
you
one shots and turning them into YouTube videos is probably
should,
a lot more lucrative than being a comic.
exactly, especially if you were trend jacking and this like turning Minecraft into a manga. Logan Paul, like I turned the Logan Paul versus KSI fight into a manga. Like you could trend jack so freaking hard with this idea, and it'd be so easy to do if I didn't have all these other freaking stories that I'm working on.
It's like in that aspect, I am definitely one of these quote unquote dumb creators because it's like, oh, I could definitely do this. Like, what's his name? That streamer Kai who went to
Oh,
jail and
oh,
streamed.
Kai Kinet.
Yeah, and I was like, you could have easily made that a quick little one shot of him just being in jail and released that alongside of it. It would have done crazy numbers because he has this huge audience.
Yeah, exactly. Like just them seeing Kai Kinet, they'd be like, "Oh, I have to watch this." I mean, I found a tweet the other day from 4 years ago, and I'm working on the video right now, and it was Mr. Beast was like, "These are my top 3 anime."
Hmm.
So my video is like I watched Mr. Beast recommended me 3 animes to watch, and then I'm gonna watch them because I haven't watched them, and then give my take. But it's just you have that trend jack of Mr. Beast, and people go, "Oh, Mr. Beast," and guess what? I found a tweet from 5 years ago of Elon Musk saying these are my 4 favorite anime, and now I can use them, and so it's just yeah, like you just have to find creative ways to do it. I mean, I did that Logan Paul video and I got like pushback from my friends. They're like, dude, what the F is this? And I was like, this is the future. And they're like, no, Tyler, like this is gay. And I was like, no, 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 like this. And there's a part of me that's like, man, like if I hadn't listened to all the negativity and then just like just was like, you know what, this is the kind of content that I want to make and do. I always think, I think the thing that held me back the most was seeking the validation of people that just didn't have the same mindset as I
Mm,
did.
yeah, and that'll hold people back or with anything. Like I listen to it's funny. My biggest influences in being a comic creator are not comics. They're Gary V. You know Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh yeah, dude, I love Gary. Dude, Gary V
Yeah,
dropped the biggest, like it just changed everything for me this week. He said it. He said, what's the niche? Stop trying to find, I'm not even gonna butcher it because no, seriously, you might hear this and you might ejaculate because I did. Like it just, dude, no, dude, like this, it changed everything. Do you know who Alex Hormozy is?
yeah, I know him. Morrison.
Okay, so Alex, it's gonna be Alex Hormozy who's gonna be reading this Gary V tweet. So, and he's like, "Man, Gary just dropped the biggest truth bomb, and why didn't I think of it?" And when he says it, I'm like, "Holy crap! Like, where was this like 3 years ago? Like, why didn't anyone say?" All right, here we go. Here we go.
I heard
Oh.
a piece of content from Gary that I really liked. I'm pissed he said it because it's really good. He said, dude, the niche is you. You're the niche. Like, look at Rogan. Rogan wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna toss in some comedy, I'm gonna toss in some fighting stuff, and then like shrooms, and then aliens, and then politics a little bit. He just fucks with that stuff. And so that's what he talks about. I actually really like philosophy. I like comedy. I like marketing and sales. I like business stuff. And that's what my content's about. How do you recreate that? Get interested in stuff, do things, and then talk about the stuff that you did. And you probably do have a few completely disjointed things that you're into. It's the combo of 5 things in different proportions that then creates the thumbprint that makes the creator unique. I heard a piece.
Just like, I was just like, holy crap, like I've been so like focused on like I gotta do this, the manga niche and find this. I'm like, no. I've been like trying to follow these niches and like this is what the niche is. And then when you're like, no, you're the niche. Like it's all the stuff that make up you and what you're interested in. And I'm like, holy like crap, like.
And that's how I'm trying to get my YouTube to be more of a reflection of as I pivot into this different realm of content. And my YouTube channel, like my Marcel the Loser channel, isn't what I would consider a revenue stream. It's more so so it's like just I do almost like my plan is just to stay consistent because through consistency everything is easier. I was like, I'm gonna do a monthly video. 1 month it'll be a podcast. The next month it'll be some kind of fun video, me playing Connect Four with Elijah Wood or hosting a Connect Four tournament, which I also did last April. I had a trophy and everything. It was awesome. Or I just released a golf highlight video of my dad.
There you go.
Or me stealing the table at the convention, or all these other different ideas. It'll just be random idea that I think is cool, and it'll be a more accurate representation of me and what I'm interested in. And yeah, maybe every once in a while, like once a year, I will throw out just a big masterclass on here's what I'm doing in comics, and I think do just because that I do like doing that. I do like talking about the business of making comics and everything. Like I did a panel earlier this year, and that was really fun. I wish I had got a chance to talk more with everybody. Like I remember being there when it was getting ready to end. We only had so much time. I was like, hey, anybody who still has questions, you can talk to me in front of the room.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can ask me anything you want. Promise you, I will do my best to answer it. Because I love to give someone the opportunity that I didn't necessarily get, or like the opportunity that I did get. Like there were people who looked out for me in my journey, and everyone pay it back, pay it forward or whatever. So yeah, I'm trying to make content that is more of a reflection of just me and not just Marcel, the comic creator. So
For sure. I mean, sometimes it just comes with simplicity. I mean, I've been I think I have like all this like crazy editing and whatnot, and then I just look at someone like Charlie of Moist Critical, and he just looks at the camera, this shitty webcam, and he gives his take, and he can talk about literally anything at this point because they're like, oh, I like Charlie because of his takes. And it's like, okay, well, what are the things that I'm interested in? What are things that I like? And just not be afraid. Let's just talk them. Just talk about them. And then, yeah, just like you are the niche. People
Mm.
go, oh, like I'm watching Marcel's content because, I like it. Someone might, I do think you need to have like 80% of some kind of focus. Like you are known for like this one thing, but then like you can have all these other aspects. But
Yeah.
if someone goes, oh yeah, I go to Marcel's channel because he has these really long creator videos and I really like listening to him talking with these people for like an hour. And then then you're like, hey guys, I'm like at a con, I'm gonna steal a table. Then they're like, I can watch 5 minutes of this because I like Marcel and I want to see what goofy shit he's up to. And so I think that's a great strategy. I wish more creators would start creating content, and the ones that don't, I just say, well, I'll see you in 5 years. I'll see who's still around and who's not, and who's still complaining about the same things and who's not complaining about the same things.
That brings about a good question, though. What do you think the comic industry, the landscape will look like, not in 5 years, but let's say 10 years? Like in
Yeah.
2033, what's it going to look like out there?
I think we don't see the floppies come out from Marvel and DC anymore.
Mm.
And I think they have. I mean, this is if they're smart. I think in 10 years, either I have this theory that the only reason why they're still printing comics is that it's in a contract somewhere where like we'll give you these IPs, but you have to keep producing comics. So like we know you want to make the mugs, the t-shirts, and the movies, and that's what makes you money, but you still have to keep the comics division open. So assuming my theory is correct, they will. I'll tell you what I hope to see. Maybe I don't know what it's going to be, but that's what I'd hope to see. I hope that I hope DC and Marvel are either like on the Global Comics app, and I hope that app is killing it. But really, I just hope that DC and Marvel have a mobile strategy, because I only read comics these days on my phone. And then I hope that they've kind of gone back to like creating better stories. I hope that they make 2 lines of comics, a legacy line and then a new line, a new generation line that starts at Batman at volume 1, at issue 1, at Bruce Wayne, who's in his training, and they learn from manga that, hey, just tell one story. Like, don't need all these arcs and all these different renumberings. Like, that's why you have the legacy brand, so you don't forget the old readers. But then you have this new generation land, and you're reading Batman, and you're seeing him train, you're seeing him get his villains again, and then you see him then become the best Batman, and then he defeats his villains, and then he passes on the mantle of Batman to like all the Robins and whatnot. So I hope that they create these different lines to appease old readers and new readers. And then I think for indies, I don't know. Like I think Kickstarter will still be there. I think it'll still be a thing. But I don't think it's going to be as profitable as it has been in these last. I think there will be a bubble that pops. I think the big creators will. I think there will be more Marvel and DC creators going on Kickstarter, so it's going to be even harder for indie creators. New ones. I think people like me who have been on there for the last like 4 years, by the time like in 10 years, I will then have been on there for 14 years. So I think I will have established myself enough that I will be able to survive a Kickstarter bubble, whereas new creators, they're going to have a really hard time standing out. And then I think we're going to see more creators. I mean, hopefully, I hope we start seeing more creators doing the whole Eric July route of creating content, building up your own audience, and killing it. That's where I see comics in the next 10 years.
If someone was just about to start making comics today, they can write and draw to some extent, right? What would be the one advice you give them?
Start.
To start.
Go watch the video by Gary Vee, Document Not Create. And then if you didn't understand it, it's only a 7-minute video. Watch it again. If you still don't understand it, keep watching it over and over until you do understand it. And then once you understand what document not create means, then start a YouTube channel. Grab your phone, because I know everyone has a freaking phone. I hate the whole excuse of like, I can't make content, I don't have a $5,000 camera. I'm like, dude, this thing shoots in 4K, and it's in your pocket. And if you need a camera, I use a GoPro and it was $300 and it also shoots in 4K. Once you watch that Gary Vee video and figure it out, start making content, start talking about your journey. And then it kind of goes to the fact that it's like, okay, your first 10 videos are going to suck. Your first 50 videos are going to suck. Keep going, keep learning, document your process, start just talking to people, saying, hey, I don't know if you know there's a weightlifter named Sam Sulik. And he just posts hour-long vlogs, and it's just him, like he'll be bicep curling for 20 minutes and talking. He's like, so what you're really good, so like with our curls, this is a heavy one. You're going to always want to, and these are 40-minute vlogs. Like he'll have a 20-minute segment of him just like making lunch, and people are watching these. He's getting millions and millions of views every upload. I'm like, who's watching an hour of this guy just work out and talk? But it's because he's documenting his process. These videos are not edited very well. And it's just like, you're just hanging out with the guy. And I think that's what ultimately people want. They just want to hang out with someone. I think that's why a lot of people I think that's why a lot of people like will watch my show on Monday nights, because they're like, I know that Tyler's going live and I want to hang out with him. And I think like, and I do the same thing with a bunch of creators I follow. Like my wife hates this, but I swear I'm one of David Dobrik's crew with all of like their rich people. Like I've watched every video. I watched every upload for 4 years. They're my best friends. Like they're all my best friends. I know them. They clearly know who I am. Clearly. And I just think, yeah, like obviously if you want to make a comic, start making a comic. But I think if you want to make comics and like start selling comics, you need to start learning how to market yourself. And how you do that is to create content. So watch that Gary Vee video.
Right. I would definitely, I used to tell people, I'm like, if you're just trying to get readers for a comic, I'm like, definitely just create a Facebook page and run some ads. Boost posts, and then invite people to follow the page. It's the easiest way to get an audience. But as far as like monetizing it, I would definitely go the YouTube route. And because YouTube is like, it's not just YouTube anymore. You can have a shopping tab on your YouTube channel.
Yes.
Have a Patreon membership sort of thing on your YouTube channel. You can do community posts. You can do live streams, shorts. Like it's very much becoming an all-in-one platform. And it's like, yeah, so definitely create a YouTube, study Think Media, Alex Hormozi, Gary Vee, all those dudes. Get your SEO game together. And yeah, it's like I'm surprised more creators don't just post their comics on YouTube, like in the community posts. Like, right now I think it only goes up to 5, but still 5 panels at a time.
Oh, dude, I know, but like, but they're always thinking like everything has to make them money, and you're like, okay, but sometimes people don't want to pay money for like the first issue, like
right.
these days. And so like, I mean, I give away the Growth the Megafist Volume 1 away for free a lot. My plan is when I get to Volume 6 of the Growth the Megafist, Volumes 1, 2, and 3 will be completely free on my site digitally. Just because I know my story is good enough to get people hooked. But I also am like, I know my art wasn't where I wanted it to be at Volume 1. So I'm like, if I give them that for free, at least they'll read it and go, okay, like he's getting better. And then when they see Volume 2's art, they go, okay, he got better. Let's keep reading. And then when they read Volume 3, they go, oh, the art got way better. The writing's still good. And then the Volume 3 leaves the cliffhanger, and then that will force them to buy Volume 4. And I'm confident that if they read Volume 4, they're gonna want to read and buy 5, 6, 7 onwards. But a lot of creators can't even fathom giving away their first issue for free. I'm like, digitally. I'm like, dude, you're not making it's fine. Like, it's not costing you anything. Just give them a freaking PDF, man.
Are you ever gonna make a comic dub?
You know, like one of my favorite creators is Merryweather Media, and he
Right.
just does and he does all those comic book dubs. They cost a lot of money. I've looked into it. I think what I would do is I might like put my pages on. I've seen people do this. So they'll make their video and they'll just have like the pages will just slide down and
Yeah,
there's music behind it.
yeah.
Yeah, so then they'll just watch it and then they'll just read it as it's sliding down, and they're like 15-minute videos. I'm like, damn, you just like you had someone just like looking like this for 15 minutes as the. So I think that's something that I could foresee myself doing. But right now, probably not. But they do well though. Like there's some manga ones where like they post like a new manga every single day on YouTube and it's dubbed and it's in full color. And I'm like, how are they doing this? It's like a 20-minute video. It's like watching a freaking TV show.
Yeah.
And they're getting millions of views. I'm like, gosh, I don't know like what artist is in their basement just like like crying while they're making this stuff. But yeah, and they're posting daily, which is why I'm like, dude, there's a gun to someone's head down there, I swear.
Yeah.
But it's something that I've thought of, and you know, you even say comic dub and you'll have some creators like what is that? It's like, dude, you don't even know the possibilities that you can do. I mean, there's a guy on TikTok and he sells thousands of his comic. It's all AI generated, but whatever. And he posts the pages up just as slideshows and they get hundreds of thousands of views. And I'm like, it's just a slideshow with a trending song.
Yeah.
And that's how people are reading it.
The audience doesn't care. The audience doesn't care if it's AI or like they just had that big trend on Twitter where they were doing those AI generated images of like cartoon characters, but like having these sort of rap lyrics attached to them.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's funny.
So they had one with Johnny Bravo talking about, you know, she say I'm a mama's boy. I'm telling her like, what's the problem with that? And he's like got all these chains on and all looking all like this fade on his haircut and stuff. It's a big trend of stuff, but yeah, no one cares it's AI generated. There's a meme that I just shared with my girlfriend today of Patrick, like AI generated Patrick Starr's voice singing like R&B songs.
Oh yeah, dude, I've been liking those. I've been liking those. Those are funny, man.
That's AI top to bottom.
Yeah,
millions of likes, millions of views. No one cares outside of the creator community. And I always tell people, I'm like, look, everyone gets automated eventually. You think Fruit Loops didn't like there's so many music programs out there where you can just click a button and get a drum or a piano.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone actually play the drums or the piano. Like, but still, there's tons of successful drummers, tons of successful pianists, if I said that correctly. And, you know, it's like, it's not really something you need to worry about so long as you're on your, you know, game. But, yeah, I don't know. People are just really worried about that. And
dude, I considered doing an AI comic cover for my current Kickstarter, and I wrestled on it, and I was like, and like I even had the AI generation, and then like I photoshopped a gun in, and then I photoshopped her hair so it was better, and I fixed all like the AI wonky stuff, and there was a part of me that was still just like, if I put my name on, I'm like, I've already had a tough year. I already had a tough year. I don't know if I don't need to make it any harder on myself getting just Ian alive.
If I was you, I would do one book like that. This is something I'm going to be trying out soon, just because I do like fan comics, like crossover comics, and the print. I can't get the printer to print like a bunch of them, but they'll print like one for me. So I'm like, okay, they'll print me like, well, they print two at a time because they're like digest size, like manga. So they print two at a time because that's how the paper they're using, right? So I'm like, okay, you don't want to print a bunch, but you'll print like one or two for me. So I'm gonna do a bunch in DIY format, like print at home on like my printer, and then I'll have one book. And then what I'm gonna do is put it on eBay and let people auction it for it.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, because you're doing Kickstarter, just be like, have that one, one of one quantity AI book. It's signed, it's autographed by Chat GPT or whatever. Like, it's one of a kind, and you put it at some high price point, and it's like your super fan, will buy it, and it'll be like, it's a one of one. This is amazing,
That's fun. That's funny. Well,
So-
I've had people like with their AI art, like they'll trace over it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I drew this," and you're like, "Man, like I guess that's a that's a workaround." I do want to let you know I have like 10 minutes. I can stay for like 10 more minutes. Just to let you know.
Right. I was just about to wrap it up. I was
Oh, you're good.
So let me ask. I think I've got like a couple quick questions for you.
Let's do it.
What I call clippable moments. Like, okay, this
here
could
we go.
easily become a clip. So here's one that would fall in the category of like advice for creators. So
Yeah.
Mind your tone.
I
So do you create content calendars for your Kickstarter campaigns? Like while your Kickstarter is going on, do you create content calendars? And if you don't, do you think it's a good idea to do so?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have created content calendars in the past. I think content calendars are really important. I think it's good to just learn how to get into a schedule of creating content and being able to put it out and produce it. For me at this point in time, I don't necessarily have a content calendar schedule. I know that I go live on a Monday. I'm going to go live on a different day, and I'm going to post 2 videos on throughout the week. And so really what my thing right now is, if I'm not going to, if that's kind of like my schedule, the thing that I need to do is what are my ideas? What ideas can I start like talking about or filming? And so like I have a Google Doc that's just a list of like 50 to 60 just ideas that like if I could just go, okay, we're going to talk about this one, and I could rant about it or talk about it in depth for like 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
I also used Chat GPT the other day to generate me like 50 like good ideas for like content based off of the manga and anime nation. I learned how to do a really cool prompt, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a god.
Hey, as soon as like, and probably like we're talking about what it's going to look like in 5-10 years. Assuming AI, like comic creating AIs, have come along, I probably will be using them in some way, just to probably do those little goofy ideas that I come up with. Like, you know how people are saying like Kickstarter is just for titty books and stuff. I'm like, I have a good idea for a titty book. It would be called the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. It's a world where everyone has huge breasts except the main character. And
there we go.
It's there's a story in there somewhere. I just
but that's a great that's like I mean think of the Isekai title. I live in a world where everyone has big boobs except me.
Right.
Like boom, I'm sold, man.
Yeah. But that's not something I really want to do. It's just something I think would be a cool idea. And
instead of investing your time and resource, let's just let AI make that idea.
I'll write it up, but yeah, get someone else to draw that real quick, and boom, that goofy idea now is brought into the real world for people to enjoy, and then this will tell you if that's something you need to do more, like how you're doing with your current Kickstarter,
Yeah, no, exactly.
All right, so here's a question: who is the coolest comic creator out right now?
Like, who's the coolest
to you? Like, yeah, who's the coolest comic creator?
I guess my 2 favorite creators right now are Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. They do the criminal series. They just do they do crime noir. In fact, I like once I'm finished with The Girl with the Mega Fist, that's probably when I just disappear, and I don't stop making comics, but I just dedicate the rest of my life to doing it as a hobby and I make a crime noir. I have a crime noir story with a bunch of characters. I've already written like all the arcs. It's called The Pope of St. Francis, and I love that style of storytelling. I love that they make kick-ass books. They have a great fan base. They're very positive, and yeah, I think they're awesome.
Okay. One last question. I'm basically asking everybody this at this point. What's the funniest? Tell me something that funny happened to you, like your funniest story.
Funniest story?
Something funny that happened to you once.
I'm trying to think. It's actually kind of sad that I can't think of something like funny right now. Funny. Frick, man, this isn't good. Like,
Just a goofy story that something that happened. Like for
okay,
instance,
okay, I got one.
okay.
I was at work and I was trying to do some customer support stuff that day, and I was at home doing it. Normally I work in the office, but for some reason that day I was at home working. And I looked and I found an email from a lady named Valerie, and she was very upset about her order. And I went, okay, well, I'll fix it. Fix the order, blah, blah, blah. I then look into the chat and I see that there's been this conversation though with like Valerie and another coworker. And I don't know which coworker it is because it just says like, I just gave him a code name, and I'm like, okay, clearly this Valerie person was very upset. Then I get a phone call from this Valerie person, and they're just like berating me, just so upset. They're just so upset, and there is just and I'm like, there's a part of me that's just like, this lady's absolutely crazy. And I'm trying to appease her. And while she's talking, I'm like, I'm texting my boss. I'm like, dude, what the F is going on? Like, I've got this crazy customer. Look at this order number. Look at this chat. Look at the email logs. And they're like, yeah, like Tyler, they're like, Tyler, you got to sort this out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's just yelling at me on the phone. So this is going on for like an hour. And I go, I think this is a prank. I think this is a prank from my boss. Like that, not like just my boss, like manager boss, like the CEO. I'm like, I think this is a prank. And so, but if it is real and I go, you're being stupid, then I'm a bad employee. And then if I do say, but if it is a prank and I say you're stupid, my boss will know that I'm bad at customer service. So it's a lose-lose. So then I'm going, no, it can't be my boss because he's driving to Arizona. I go real quick. Let me go. And I go, hold on, Valerie. I'm gonna put you on hold. I'm gonna go call my boss real quick. I call my boss and I just hear this. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Tyler? And I'm like talking to him, and it sounds like he's driving and whatnot. And I'm like, hey, this is going on. He goes, hey, that's all right. I just need you to sort it. I'm on my way to Arizona. I go, okay, fine, whatever. Get back on this call with this lady, and it's going on for like 40 minutes. So I'm like, what the F? I still think it's a prank. Keep in mind, this is going on for an hour, 40 minutes.
Why did you think it was a prank? Is that something y'all did at your job a lot?
No, but I was like, there's no way a lady can be this crazy and dedicate 2 hours of her time to talk, like yell at me. So I get in my car and I'm driving to work as I'm like talking. And then I get to the parking lot. I go, let me call my boss one more time. She goes, yeah. And I call my boss and same thing. Hey, Tyler, what's going on? And I'm walking into the building and I'm like, hey, Bryce, can you look up a number real quick? And he goes, what number? I go, 555, blah, blah, blah. I give him like this really long list of number. So as he's typing it, I walk into the office and I peer into his window. He's the lady. He's in his phone. And my buddy Clint is going like this. And I'm like, guys. And they're like, oh, we pranked you. And I'm like, for 2 hours, I was like, I have work to do. like, is there really nothing more important in you, the CEO's day, and you, my boss, to prank me for 2 hours? Like, I drove here. And yeah, that was pretty funny. And what's funny is they recorded the whole thing too.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a funny moment.
Do you have any of this?
I did at my work computer. I know they still have it because they put it on. They have like a playlist of music that goes in the warehouse, and my boss threw in the audio in that playlist. So sometimes I'd be like, go into the warehouse to go get something, and I'd hear them all laughing, and I'm like, whatever, guys.
Wow,
It was whack.
that's some Dunder Mifflin type shit right there.
Yeah, it is. It seriously is.
Well, thank you for your honesty and transparency and sharing that story with us.
Always. Thank you so much for having me on here. This was a blast. I am pissed though that I lost in Connect 4, so I will be training. We will do a rematch. We'll do a rematch. We'll do a rematch on my channel.
Yeah, I'm gonna say as soon as you're ready, invite me on the channel. And
I will. I'm gonna train. No, I'm dead ass. And like it's gonna be a big thing. Like it's gonna be a big thing. I appreciate you having me on, man.
right, just give me like a couple weeks heads up, so then I can start making my video documenting my journey, my arc for this rematch. Okay.
I'll be like, yo, in 3 weeks. This is the date. Be there.
Cue the Rocky anthem. Right. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, all right, Tyler. Yes, thanks for coming on. I will be releasing this video next week. So will your Kickstarter still be going on?
Yeah. My Kickstarter, Bullet Assassin Living in a Fantasy World, it will still be happening on Kickstarter.
All right. Want to pitch it a little bit more?
Bullet Assassin Living in a Fantasy World is an isekai about a world-class assassin named Akari who is betrayed by her employer in the real world and wakes up in a fantasy world that is currently ruled by the Goblin Lord Grukruk. She's only armed with her AR-15 and one magazine, and she has decided that she is going to end Grukruk's rule of this particular kingdom. First off, though, she's got to figure out how to learn how to make more bullets and figure out, what's it like living in this fantasy world. So what's great at what we're having fun with this, this comes out next week, is it's pitched as a one shot, but one of our stretch goals, which we're actually super close in getting to, is that if it hits our stretch goal, we'll turn this into a 5-part miniseries, which is what me and the team actually want to do. Is we want to tell a 5-part miniseries. But if the story isn't what people want, then we're not going to waste our time telling the story. But we're very close to hitting that stretch goal, so I actually think we're going to be turning this into a series, and that excites me.
Sounds awesome. So yes, do please. There's a QR code on the screen right now, or at least there will be through the future of Adobe magic of Adobe Premiere. So yeah, scan that if you'd like to see Tyler's isekai tits, swords, and bullets. Help it become a full series, like I'm sure it definitely will. And yeah, thanks Tyler for being on the show. Very much appreciated. Big fan of your videos.
Thanks, man.
About everyone except the last one, because I'm like, well, I'm about to talk to him, so I don't want to.
Oh no, you're good.
I don't want to be too close to it. So, but yeah, thanks for being on. Thanks for your time.
For sure.
Yeah. See ya.
And we will rematch though, because I got destroyed royally.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
I love it. Thanks, man.
All right. Take care.
Peace.